So in today's Creative Confidence Catch Up, I'm going to be chatting with Susie. Susie, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I'm sure. So thank you for having me. I am so happy to be here. I'm a lot. I think it's so hard to say what I do in 1 minute because or 1 second really because I am a filmmaker, but I've really been focusing the last 2 years of my life on advocacy for our long-term care system. So it's been
Mm.
very interesting to step in, wear a different hat, using what I do anyway, which is filmmaking, but with a much different purpose. So that's what that in a nutshell is what I am.
Wow. So my first question to you then, really, in regards to the creative sector, I suppose, what is confidence to you, and have you had any setbacks along this journey?
Oh no, no setbacks, zero.
I wish.
Right? And if you don't have setbacks, then you're not doing your journey. That's what I think,
Yeah,
right?
that's
I
so
think that
true.
I think our journeys are really like they're lined with setbacks, and they are always they're the most frustrating. And then they are our gifts, not to sound ooey, but they are our gifts because they somehow redirect us in the way that where we're supposed to be.
Hmm.
And at the time it doesn't feel that way. It feels very frustrating, and it feels, almost like you are defeated at many times. But if you have resilience, then you can use that as your fuel to keep going and to find a better way, a different way, a way that's right for you. So did you ask me specifically or in general?
Well, it could be in general, but do you think there might have been a certain point in your life then that there was a kind of a setback which brought you to where you are now, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, when if I say if it comes to mind right away, like if I was doing some psychological tests and they said, okay, quick, here was the first thing that
Yeah,
hits your
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
There's a lot of setbacks, like I said, but I think probably the most the most traumatic in career wise, I would say, is like I was on a roll.
Hmm.
You work really hard, and you get into a groove, and you think, okay, now I'm there,
Yeah.
and now it's like, I'm on the right path. And this was when I had just finished doing a couple of television series for children on Saturday morning.
Hmm.
And then I was asked with the same production company to write their next film, which was Bratz for
Hmm.
Lionsgate. And then I also produced that. And then I wrote and co-produced. They did the final script for Soul Surfer for Sony and co-produced that. And I thought, this is it. I'm on my way. The world is mine. It's like I can do whatever. And, something happened. And I don't know what, like it does, because in our industry, or in any industry, really, sometimes we mistake business, business family for real family,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And I often did that throughout my career. I always have thought, these are my family, these are my friends.
Yeah.
We are kumbaya, we're forever.
Hmm.
We are, solid. I would do anything for them, they'll do anything for me. I'll work 24/7. It's not always reciprocal. And there's a lot of, surprises out there, and there's a lot of backstabbing, and there's a lot of, jealousy and
Competition?
competition,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And you cannot believe how toxic that can be,
Yeah.
to the point of, throwing you off your path,
Hmm.
to and not willingly, like you were kicked off the path, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like kicked off. And 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 not to go into details on it, but to talk metaphorically about it, it's like, where I thought I was headed stopped,
Right.
but
Okay.
not due to my anything that I did, really. Like, I did every soul search I could do and figure out, what am I doing wrong. It certainly wasn't my work, because my work, I was delivering my work. What is it? And had to really figure out that it's not, it's life, it's people, it's relationships, it's that you might you know uh tag them, or define them as something that they're not. And so that is part of been my journey of developing as a person, separate from my family life, my friendship life, and then my work life.
Mm-hmm.
And that also equates to confidence.
Yeah.
To say that it does whatever, we are the same people, whether this person doesn't want to work with you or this person does want to work with you. It doesn't matter. No matter what, we are the same person we were when we woke up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We woke up today, and we are the same people. So what it teaches you, those kinds of challenges teach you that, to believe in this and this. Like my mom, my darling mom, would say to me if I was frustrated, I want you to go in the mirror in the bathroom right now, look in the mirror and thank God for this and this right now. Like, and what do you care if that person doesn't like you? Because if you don't like me, I don't like you, right? I mean, so at some point we have to get tough.
Yeah.
In a way, without losing our heart. And I think that's the balance that I feel like that those kinds of challenges can bring to you. And those are gifts. So as a creative.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you for that. That's like really interesting how you were talking about like the idea of competition and separating for kind of work on your own personal life and people and all of that. And yeah, I do find within the creative industries there can be a lot of competition, when in reality, if like everybody's kind of working towards a similar purpose and things like that, why
Right.
can't everybody just kind of help each other? Sometimes I think that is
Right.
probably easier. So my next question then is, in terms of like a community perspective then, how was the No Country for Old People? How was that sparked? Did this come as a result of these experiences you have had? Because it does seem very community orientated when you talk about these things.
Right. I mean, I think every project has its own life and a very individual personality, right? So I'm, just to backtrack a second. So in the middle, when the documentary No Country for Old People was really spearheaded by my experience with my mom in the long-term long-term care system in America, which isn't dissimilar to England, Canada. I know that we share a lot of the same crap and in that area. But at the time I had just finished writing. I was hired to write a adaptation of a book called Plain Jane. It's now called Run. I'm attached to direct. It's a dramedy. It's lovely. It's one I'm very proud of the script. I am looking forward to. We are looking at this year to actually go into production on it. Wow. So that has its own personality, right? So that is like, that's a whole nother conversation. But you asked me about No Country for Old People. That became my, sort of what, going back to your question about what's the challenge of my life, which was like taking my own lead. And if someone else isn't going to do it, then I know I can.
Yeah.
It might not be easy, but I know I can. I know my limitations, but I know what I can do. And so with No Country for Old People, and I had gone through this, very, very traumatic, poetic 6-month journey with my mom towards the end of her life, which came premature because of our system, our healthcare system. And I didn't know what I was up against. And I was playing whack-a-mole. I was trying to help my mom and be there for her. And I was losing the battle. And I didn't know why. And it's quite a long story for your show, so I don't want to go too.
No. It's nice to get a brief insider, though. No, that's really cool.
Yeah. So at the end, it was finally like one of my guests on my podcast, because I have a podcast called Love Conquers Alls. My mom had Alzheimer's. I did a short film called My Mom and the Girl, which was about my mom, but it was a narrative, and that was very successful for me because it went to Cannes. We won awards. We were Oscar qualified, and it was just a lovely look at Alzheimer's, but a real look. So I had the lead prosecutor who was featured. His role, his life was featured in Hulu's miniseries Dope Sick. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's about the OxyContin you know, just tragedy that is continues with the Sackler family. Anyway, he was a guest, and he had prosecuted. He's a U.S. attorney. Had prosecuted nursing homes. He said, "This is not a one-off. This is a systemic issue. You're a filmmaker. Film."
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. It was that at that moment I was like, it's like this project was it was like it was my soul project. Like I had
Yes.
not do it.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. It's been extremely hard. It's
Mm-hmm.
been, almost 2 years, going on 2 years. And, we're just about finished. And it's just been, that's how it started. So I did start with community. I did get a fiscal sponsor. I raised all the money. And because if not me, who?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's really interesting how like different experiences as well in life can actually open up opportunity, not for the fact that obviously it's a really sad sort of situation and sort of which it's kind of inspired, but it's interesting how people's experiences, yeah, open up these opportunities in ways that we probably wouldn't imagine our creativity to lead us, if that makes sense.
Oh God, yeah. Go back to what I said about the challenges. Those are your gifts.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
those are your personal stories, and your personal stories, even though you think they're so personal, those are the more personal they are, the more universal they are. And so when you tell those stories and you're brave enough to tell those stories,
Yeah.
then you will touch people, and you will resonate, and you will move and shift, and all those crazy words that sound really big and grand, full of grandeur. But I'm talking about shifting. If you shift one person and you shift 100 people, that's huge.
That's a ripple, isn't it? And it just goes to the next person and the next person. And then also I suppose it's a way in which, like, obviously you were telling your story, those people who have also had similar issues and sort of things going on like that, you are helping them to kind of go, you're not alone in this.
Exactly.
And it kind of brings about that sort of community sort of thing again, isn't it? And it's like
It
bringing those
is.
people together, and yeah, we're not alone in our journeys. It's just a case of being able to find that courage to express how we feel, and it makes it easier for a lot of people.
And even in the darkest room, you can find the light. If you can find the light, then because we can't often change some situations can't be changed, but we can change how we look at them and how we manage them and how we navigate them. And that is the goal, because life is short and life is good, and life should be explored in every which way. So whatever we're given, it's challenging. Nobody wants a mom with Alzheimer's. Nobody wants Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going to if this is what we're given, then let's freaking dance with it as hard as we can and as best as we can. And that's all we can do.
Yeah.
That's all, but that's really huge to do that.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And being a like just kind of saying like helping those other people, and also it's that educational piece in a way, like this is happening, so how do we deal with it? And obviously by you kind of saying, oh, this has happened to me, whatever, like the more we hear about it, the more it becomes a normalized conversation, and the more things can
Destigmatized.
help us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's destigmatized. It's
Yeah.
it's like I have a wart, you have a wart. How do you deal with your wart, right? And I think I've always been like that. I know you talk a lot about being a creative. I think that the best stories come from you, that what you know, write what you know, create what you know. And in some respects, as a beginning writer, I used to think, or, creator, that's cheating,
Mm-hmm.
because, that's easy. That's easy. That's like, I should go out and, find an amazing story,
Yeah.
but no, honestly, guys, it's like it is what you know that is so powerful, because what you know is unique to you. And so when you share that, it's brave, it's generous, and it's powerful.
Yeah, in a way, it's probably is that like imposter syndrome creeping in, going, someone's talking about that already. It's like, how am I even going to not compete, but like do something
Yeah.
or model that, or, and then it's like that self-doubt kind of getting us out of that opportunity. And it's like, no, you need to push yourself into it sometimes.
Oh my God, Amy, you're so right. It is that. And
Mm,
just to go back to My Mom and the Girl, which was my short film that was so successful, you know, and I literally, it all was based on one little story that I would tell people when they
mhm.
say, "How is your mom?" And it was poignant and funny story. And they'd go, "You have to film this. You have to." And I go, literally, I would say, like the world needs one more Alzheimer's film, right? Like, no, no, I'll tell the story at parties and that's it. And then I finally decided, why not? Let me do it. Let me throw my hat in there as a director because I hadn't, there was my first directorial.
Um,
And and look what it did. And
yeah.
look what it did. And still there's other films that are out there that I love about Alzheimer's. And I say, that tells it that way. And this tells it this way. And isn't that beautiful? How many love stories can we tell? A million.
There's so many, so many. So my next question then, in terms of like the creativity, then, are there any other projects you're currently working at the moment, or working on, should I say, at the moment?
Yeah, I did mention that I'm working on a movie called Run that
Mm-hmm.
I wrote based on a book called Plain Jane, which is has a thread of IVF, which is very a modern dilemma. I call it a
Mm-hmm.
modern dilemma, which is,
Yeah,
in case nobody knows, it's in vitro fertilization.
yeah.
And I was sent the book to see if I wanted to write the script the night before my daughter was having IVF, and I never had even knew what IVF was. And I had
Oh,
just watched 3 documentaries on egg transfer because I didn't know what the hell it was, because I'm the girl that got pregnant every time. I get like I am like fertile Myrtle, right?
yeah, yeah.
I
But
didn't know.
that's kind of like fate, like it was meant to happen for that's.
100%. And I read this book, and it's not all about IVF, folks, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about this journey of relationships. But that
Okay.
thread of it is like, are we playing God? And,
Mm-hmm.
and what are
Interesting.
the yeah, what is how do we deal with, like, it's funny because here in the States we're dealing with like they just passed a law, or they were trying to pass a law that these fertilized eggs are actually minors.
Yeah,
Like how do
yeah.
we look at these like fertilized eggs that are frozen, and like, and this is what this story actually, it actually focuses a little bit on that, because our main protagonist shares one of her eggs with a friend. And now, how does that talk about ripple effect? And
Mm-hmm.
didn't even, she didn't confer with her husband because didn't think of it. It was like, my friend needs this. She can't have a baby. She gives her her fertilized egg. And now what are you know, the how does that play out? What's the
Yeah.
correct like
That
ideas?
consent.
Yeah, well, not consent, but like, what are the morals around that?
Yeah,
How do we construct, like, what are the rights of the eggs? What are the rights of
yeah.
the father, the mother, the that I don't know. It's a huge topic. It's a
Mm-hmm.
huge topic that we haven't really addressed. And I don't know how old you are, but I know my daughter's age, in their 20s, is like, that's a huge conversation about many girls are putting off children early, because I had my first daughter very young. And I think that it really resonates, and you have to think about what are the ideas of keeping those eggs, and how do we deal with that? How do we deal with that in terms of morals? And I don't mean like spiritual, I don't mean like religious morals. I mean
Mm-hmm.
as a society.
Mm-hmm. But it's
Right.
like it's interesting how creativity allows us to kind of share these stories and make these sorts of kind of make these controversial, I suppose, these sort of controversial issues, like debates sort of thing, out there, and people can be like, well, I think this, and this is where conversation starts, and this is, yeah, very interesting conversation starters.
And kind of deep when you think about it. It's
Mm,
like they are, just with this ridiculous idea that these fertilized eggs are minors and have rights,
Yeah.
In my mind, they don't. In my mind, that's ridiculous. They are still zygotes and they're sitting, but I do recognize that my daughter has, 3 fertilized eggs in a freezer somewhere, and she does stress about that. Like, what do you do with them? Because you look at the child that she made from that and you
That,
go, well, that is that. So
yeah.
now these are potential those.
Mm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
what is the right thing to do?
Yeah. Wow.
Because if you give it to somebody now, your your blood family is with
Out
someone
there.
else.
Yeah. I get you. I get you completely. And that,
It's
yeah, it
very
is. It's one of those
constricting.
when you don't actually think about it, and then like someone puts that question to you, and then it does get you thinking though. But that's so really exciting. Any other projects in the works?
Well, I mean, I have right now during COVID, we launched a narrative podcast, which we couldn't believe like won all these awards. It was based on a film that we had in development called I Love Lucifer, which is a totally out of my genre, but I loved the idea of doing a comedy horror. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't even like horror, but this is like, I'll just give you the tagline is to be horror movie stars fight movie monsters by day and real monsters by night. And they basically, it is really a metaphor on Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious. And we did it during COVID. We have actors from all over, and we did it all virtually, and we're very, very proud of that. And we can listen to it anywhere. It is a fun ride. We've been nominated for a lot of awards. We've been in the top 10 consistently. And we have, if you watched The Witcher, there we have Adam Levy as our lead. He does the narration. He also plays, I'm also in it. When I played one of the lead B movie stars, which is so much fun, against another actress that I hired from My Mom and the Girl. We become like sisters. Dawn Marie Ferrara, who's New York with a capital N. Such a counter casting for this B movie screen queen. Who's almost on her way out, and with a mouth like a truck driver, and it's hilarious.
Oh, well, honestly, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you today, Susie. And this really does, like, I'm putting it out there to people today on YouTube, that this just goes to prove, like, when we embrace creativity, this is what confidence, this is how much confidence that you can kind of gain from it. It's just proving it, isn't it? But my last question for you today, words of wisdom or encouragement, do you have any that you'd like to leave us with?
Encouragement, words of
Yeah,
encouragement.
words of wisdom, encouragement that you'd like to leave with the viewers. It could literally be anything.
Oh gosh, anything, like just
Literally anything.
well, first of all, don't be like me. Try to get sleep. I'm literally learning how to like sleep, because I think sleep is really important. This is my
That's
new
true.
this is my mission as a creative, because I literally burn the wick. I'm finding like that's not productive. So take care of
Mm-hmm.
yourself as a creative.
True.
I'm going to say that, because I'm the girl that will keep going. Like, you want to work all night? I'm there. You want to, let's
Yeah.
not, why are we stopping? Why are we stopping to eat? Like, I don't get it, right? You have to take care of yourself, because you need to fuel yourself, because
Yeah.
you are your business.
It's so true. That you
So
that
take
is
care of
so true.
yourself.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If like you keep burning yourself out and there's no you, then you're not going to be able to serve those people who you kind of want to keep showing up for. So it's that
Right,
that is
right.
so true.
So you have to be a little selfish, and you have to, draw lines.
Definitely.
And I say that with like I'm feeling like the old wise woman, but it's taken me a lifetime to figure that out. So maybe it sounds like to other generations like, oh, okay, duh. But for me, it's been a journey to learn that, to take care of yourself, because if you respect what you're doing, which you should, because you wouldn't be doing this.
Mm. And that's the
You
thing. You see people like I've got to the stage before where like brink of burnout and thing, and sometimes you do have to go, right, I have this to do today, but it's got to be put to the side because you kind of what's it, walk the walk, and you've got to kind of like, if you were saying to people, this is, you should be doing this, then sometimes you do have to kind of take that on board yourself and just go with it. And it's like, that can be popped to the side for now, but it is, you've got to do it.
You have to. Yeah. Everything else will fall into place. Just know
Exactly.
that. You just know that. But if you're not healthy, then you can't do anything.
Exactly. I totally agree. But yeah, like I said, it's been absolutely wonderful having you on today. And thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.